Hi everyone, I'm here to show you guys how to make kielbasi Alfredo, one of my most popular dishes that I make at home. So all you need, some egg noodles, some kielbasi, Alfredo sauce, and of course, today I'm going to add a little something different, bacon, everyone's favorite. So let us get into this. So I already have the pans on and getting hot, which you need to have them a little bit hot. You don't have to have them too high. Get them super low, okay? So there's that. So what I want to show you first is when you're making pasta of any kind, I'm using egg noodles, but in general, add a little salt into the water before you start because it helps with the pasta not sticking, the egg noodles and whatnot. And it's a trick I've been using for a long time, and none of my pasta sticks, whether it be egg noodles or spaghetti or whatever you use. So I'm just putting the salt in the water. I don't use oil, so there's that. So we're gonna let that water boil. So I got two other pans on. What are the pans for? Well, first of all, they're for the kielbasi. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shut these burners off because now the pans are a little bit hot. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn them back on when the proper cuts are made for the kielbasi. So, very simple. All you need is a knife. One knife is good. Okay, so there's that. So I'm going to use this open kielbasi first, because it's always good to use the stuff you already have open rather than the stuff that, is new. And everyone in the house likes this recipe, so what I'm doing is I'm cutting the kielbasi into circles, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit how that works. Now there's more to it than this, so I'm going to show you. So first I'm going to cut the circles on my cutting board that is just off camera, because that's really not a important thing, me cutting, because I'm going to show you guys how it should look, okay? And also what you didn't see is I washed my hands prior to preparing anything, because that's just something I do anyway, even though it's my own family doing whatnot. I always wash my hands before I cook anything because, it's interesting. I don't like getting messy and dirty, and which is interesting because cooking, according to some people, is you're supposed to get dirty, and I disagree with that. I will go out of my way to make sure I don't get as messy when I cook. I'm not one to play with dough and stuff like that. I will find other ways. I use gloves and such if I have to. So first of all, you want to cut the things into circles, so like this. See, it's about a little thicker than that or so. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut them into fours, each of those circles. Okay? So now they look like this. See that? Little square cubes. All right? So I cut up that entire piece. I'm going to do this all the way around to all of the kielbasi circles. All right? So cutting those up, and what you can do also is to save time, like I like to do. I usually cut two of them at the same time because they're just circles and they're just kielbasi. They'll cut. Okay, so you cut like so. Honestly, the pasta is the longest part of this. This is why that's I'm letting that cook off camera. And the good thing about this recipe is, as far as the kielbasi goes and the bacon goes, you don't need to add any grease or oil because the grease from the bacon and the grease from the kielbasi will be all you need. Now I have two pans on because I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to mix the kielbasi with the bacon to give that bacon flavor to the kielbasi on top of the kielbasi already. This recipe can also be adapted to those people who want to use sausage or anything like that. I'm using kielbasi because that's always what I've used. But you can certainly use any type of sausage if you'd like to substitute the kielbasi. And for those of you guys who really don't like sausage or kielbasi, if you really had to, you could even substitute with regular old hot dogs. I find that it doesn't come out as good with the hot dogs, but you can definitely, ad-lib and whatnot. This recipe I've been doing for a long time, since I was younger. And when you're me, I had to cook on my own for a lot of meals. And I also had to cook for my brothers and my sisters growing up. So this is something that was popular in our house. And then when I went on my own, I was cooking it. In all honesty, being a bachelor that I was before I got married and had kids, I would make this sparingly because it's too much work to just me. But other people, like I'd have company over, I would make the kielbasi Alfredo or whatnot. So, very popular dish. Anyone who I have made it for has usually enjoyed it, and my kids are probably the pickiest eaters in America, and they even enjoy this, despite the fact they're the pickiest eaters in America, even though I love them dearly. But this recipe is a very simple one, like I said, because again, I don't make anything fancy. So, all right, so I've cut these into. I went ahead and cut all the kielbasi up, and you can see they're a little squared right here. Shut that drawer. So a little squared, little cubes. I cut them into little pieces, and now I'm going to turn this burner on. That's going to be for the kielbasi. I'm going to show you a trick with the bacon too. First, I'm going to put the kielbasi in, and I'm going to go ahead and grab a wooden spoon just to wrap that in there. And this is going to go right in the pan. Okay, so the kielbasi is in the pan. The kielbasi I cut up. And I'm going to add a little bit more kielbasi because we have a whole other thing. You can hear it cooking. I'm going to turn the, I am going to actually turn the flame down a little bit on the burner because it doesn't have to be so high with kielbasi. You want to take your time with it because it will burn, and who likes burnt kielbasi? Well, probably the same people who like that burnt hot dog thing, you know what I mean? So, I'm going to go ahead and open up this other package of kielbasi. This is Applewood smoked Polish kielbasi. My wife got this at her undisclosed location. But for those of you guys who know where my wife works, you know where she is. So let me open up the kielbasi. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use half of it. I'm not going to use the whole thing, so we can enjoy some more later. And I'm going to show you another trick. See these? These are cooking shears for the kitchen. They're an amazing tool, and I'm using it right now. And I'm going to use this twice, so this should be good. So first I'm using it to open up the kielbasi package. Very basic, a basic function for cooking shears. Okay, and I'm going to show you another trick too, which a lot of people don't use them for this, which I don't know why, because it does definitely cut up on the thing. So watch this. Scissors, which these are cooking shears and they're clean. Might as well open the package. I'm going to use it to cut the kielbasi, to make them into the circles that you saw earlier with the knife, which I've primarily used mostly. This is a quick way to do it. So I'm cutting them into the same size circles, as you can see. Okay, that's about the same size as the ones I was cutting with the knife. You can hear the kielbasi that's already in there is already starting to sizzle, which you want. Okay, and they're also very small pieces because you cut them in fours. Okay, so I cut that. So now I'm going to take the same and I'm going to cut it this way, and I'm going to cut it that way, like so. Okay, so that's how that works. I'm going to throw that right in the pot. It's ready to go. And I'm going to do it right over the pot so it goes right in the pot. Because once that's cut, that's good to go. Okay? And that's how that works. Man down. So cut. And cut. Throw that in there. Cut. Cut. Always be careful when you're cooking. You know, you don't have to rush. You know what I mean? This is one of those recipes that doesn't require a lot of, you know, thought process. It's pretty basic, which is again why I make it. And it's also very filling, but it's all, even though it's filling, it's also a recipe I've found that people usually will go up for more. So that's one of the reasons why I'm cutting so much kielbasi up, because you need to make sure it goes, you know, you have to make sure it is enough to go around. You know what I mean? Everyone wants the kielbasi, which is what it's for. It is kielbasi Alfredo after all. There's a reason for it. So that's how that works. as I've cut that up. Now I do have another pan on standby, but it looks like all the kielbasi is going to fit in here, and there's a reason why I have the two pots open, because I'm doing a new recipe starting right now, well, starting today. Okay, I've also thrown away that piece that went awry, so that one's gone, unfortunately. No contamination on here. So I'm going to save this other piece. I'm going to wrap it up with some cellophane, which is a fancy word for tin foil. Now I want to watch this. So I'm going to wash this right quick. Give these scissors a rinse, because I'm about to go. See, I'm using this sponge to clean the scissors, which I just used. I'm going to rinse it off again. Okay, so now these are clean scissors. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bacon that I have right here. This bacon here is this regular old hardwood smoked bacon. And now watch this. This is one of the reasons I like these shears. I'm going to cut this bacon like this. There's several pieces here. This is very thick bacon. I'm cutting it into pieces, into threes. It'll be fours. It'll be four separate strips because they're very long pieces bacon, right? Now I want to show you this. I'm going to throw these pieces. See how they look right there? All right, cut them like that. And these are, you know, pretty quick. Okay, I'm going to throw them in with also with the kielbasi. All right, the bacon's in with the kielbasi. Just a few pieces, not all of it, because you got another pan that you're going to cook the bacon in. Okay, I'm going to turn the fan on, just on the, you know, case of the thing. Turning it down a little bit. And I'm going to use my wooden spoon to give this stuff a stir a little bit. Okay, this is the kielbasi we're talking about. Okay, and then get the bacon in there. You want to mix it all around. Okay, and you got another few pieces of bacon from the thing earlier. Gonna throw that in there again. That's the rest of that bacon that I just cut. Okay, there was three pieces on that bacon. I'm gonna mix those three pieces that I cut into fours in with the kielbasi, so it's now all one big happy family. And you know, it's gonna cook. You're gonna let that cook for a while, and it's on a very low flame, so you shouldn't have anything to worry about on that end. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the rest of this bacon, because you're gonna need it. I'm gonna take another very thick bacon. I really like this bacon. It was pretty inexpensive, which I'm a little bit money conscious. My wife says I'm cheap. I like to say I'm money conscious. But it was pretty cheap, this bacon, and bacon's not overly expensive anyway. And I'm going to do the same thing with this bacon I did with the other one. I'm going to cut it into fours. Because I don't want to overwhelm this pan with, you know, meat, you know what I mean? Even though I could theoretically do so, I would rather, you know, have it, you know, distributed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the other burner with the other pan, which is already here. And because it's bacon, and the natural grease from the bacon will not let it stick to the pan, which is a, you know, great thing, because no one likes when their stuff sticks to their pans. I know I don't. I hate it. So you can see how these strips look. Okay, I cut them in fours. I'm going to throw them in the pan. So, with the man down. I apologize for that. So that's how that's going to work. And I'm going to throw these in here like that. So we got a couple more pieces, and because we're going to make this special recipe, I'm going to cut it again. And this bacon will be used. And it was a little bit of bacon left, so this bacon goes really far. There's 3 pounds of bacon in this thing, which, you know, for bacon lovers, it's a great thing. People not so much. Now I'm going to take these pieces, a couple of these pieces, I'm going to put it in the other pan. Okay. And the other one, I'm going to put it back in with the pan with the kielbasi and the other bacon we already put in there. Okay, and now I'm going to take the wooden spoon and give it a mix in the kielbasi again. Okay. Now, it's coming together really nice, folks. Really, really nice. It's coming together a little brown. I got it on a low flame, so it's not too crazy. And of course, you know, the egg noodles, obviously it takes a while. I got a big pot for the egg noodles because again, it's gonna hold all this stuff. In all honesty, that pot is going to hold everything when it's all said and done anyway. Okay, so I'm mixing the kielbasi like this in the little pieces of bacon we put in there already, the mix. Now, I'm going to show you something. When I make bacon, I don't use a spoon or a spatula. I use cooking tongs. I love these things. This is honestly the best way I find to make bacon. And the bacon that is on the other thing, I'm just flipping it over with these tongs. I also have that on low as well. Okay? Again, there's no rush to this. There's no rhyme or reason. And it's really good stuff. And I'm going to show you guys what it looks like when I'm done with that. As we're going to let it cook, not mess with it. You know, it's bacon, so you got to make sure bacon is, you know, fully cooked. You don't want to get sick. That sucks. And I'm giving this other one a stir. It's always good to keep on track of your stuff. Okay? Keep on track of everything. Alright, I'm sticking that like that. Right there. Okay. So the kielbasi and the bacon mix is right here, and I have another bacon, smaller pan with some bacon and just some bacon in it. No kielbasi in the other one. All right, and the water for the egg noodles is boiling. So what we're going to do right now is, while I'm waiting, I'm going to throw away the bacon container and the other kielbasi container that is used, and I'm going to throw that thing right off camera. Sorry, folks. All right, I'm back. Okay, so I'm throwing away the bacon stuff and the stuff I use to clean up. This one's going to go in the fridge in a little bit. All right, so the water, you don't really mess with it. I don't like touching the water, but for once I'm just going to give the water one stir, even though it's not really doing anything. It's a little bit of bubbling effect. It's not a boil yet. I mean, obviously, like any pasta, I always wait for it to boil before I put the pasta in there, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the bacon that is in the pan again, the little pan onto the side. It's always good to keep on track of all this stuff, because when you let your bacon and stuff sit or you forget about it, it can add to problems. Okay. And I give that a good, once over. Alright. Bacon's coming along good in there. So now the kielbasi and the other bacon that is in this other pan to my left rather. Well, it's all to my left, right compared to you guys, where you are now. But I'm going to give that another stir to keep it going. The kielbasi is coming really brown. When you cut the kielbasi into the smaller pieces, it cooks faster, obviously, because there's less to cook. It's really good this way. It also stretches better. This recipe you can also adapt to a baked kielbasi Alfredo, where you can, follow the same steps and just bake it in the oven. I personally prefer this method over all of them. It is a stovetop thing. All you need is a couple pans, or sometimes all you need is one pan. This is the first time I'm using the bacon thing, so it's a little different. So I'm going to give that one I'm using the wooden spoon to move that around, and it's more than spatula actually, not a spoon. But I'm using that to move things around in there. And now what I'm going to do is use the tongs to flip over the bacon that's in the other one. There's not much bacon in the other one, maybe 6 or 7 pieces, just for like carry over really, because I don't want to overwhelm the pan that has all the other meat in there. Not right away anyway. Okay. In a little bit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the little bacon that is in there and I'm going to put it in here to kind of refresh the juices that are in here. It'll give it more of a juicy flavor, because the bacon alone in the other pan is letting the meat and the fat and the grease or whatever get into the thing. I don't care what anybody says, fat and bacon fat is one of the most delicious things ever when it's used properly in a recipe. Alone it would feel gross, of course, but whatever. This is, of course, also for only people who eat meat. Clearly, anybody who does not eat meat would not like kielbasi Alfredo. If you don't like hot dogs or kielbasi or sausage, I would probably suggest not using this recipe because it's not as good. Tofu, I suppose you could try the tofu stuff, but no thanks. I don't use tofu on a regular basis, nor do I ever. My grandmother taught me at a young age to try everything before you say you don't like it, so that's just something I'm doing. I'm cooking this also in real time, which is something that I think is not done a lot in these cooking experiments, I guess you'd say. Because, well, the reason I'm doing that is because, number one, I don't want to mess up the video. And number two, I want to show you just how long it actually takes to make kielbasi Alfredo, and I did this from scratch. The only thing I did differently for you guys is I did start it. I already had everything set up except for the Alfredo sauce, which is away in the cabinet, which I'm going to grab. But that is the last step. Is the Alfredo sauce, which, by the way, for the Alfredo sauce, you can either make your own, which is fine. Me personally, it doesn't matter to me. I use regular jar Alfredo sauce, which works out just as well, and it works quick. And there's two ways you can do that too. I'm going to show you the method that I'm going to use for today, which is the simple just mixing it and throwing it in the pan, because everything is already hot and everything is already kind of blended together. And I'm going to show you how that works. So I want to show you a little piece of kielbasi right now, show you how this is coming out. This is the tongs. See that? Does that look good? That's the piece of kielbasi that's cooking. See, it's coming along pretty well. And it's mixing in with the bacon that is in there. And I'm using that. Okay. And I'm using the wooden spoon for the most part, moving that around. I use the tongs because it's easy to grab things to show you, rather than use the spatula to show you. Kind of self-explanatory, right? I think so. Alright. So the water's doing the bubbly thing, where it's just a little beginning of the sparkly water, I like to call it. The sparkle effect, rather than the full-blown boil, which is what you want for the egg noodles. It just cooks quicker that way once it comes to a boil. The minute the boil starts, that's when I throw the egg noodles in. I give it a stir, and then I'll let it sit for a couple. And the thing about egg noodles, which I like, is egg noodles seem to cook faster than any other pasta. I think it's because it's a looser and a thinner pasta than a lot of other ones. But I find that egg noodles work the best with this recipe. Of course, you can change out the pasta. You can, of course, use ziti or spaghetti or, you know, whatever type of pasta you want. Myself, personally, I've been using egg noodles for as long as I've been doing this recipe. So what I would recommend seriously doing the egg noodles on your first attempt, because it just works out well. So I moved around the bacon that was on the other pan, and now I'm going to use my wooden spoon to move around the kielbasi and bacon mix. And in about 2 minutes or a minute or so, I'm going to take the bacon that is in the opposite pan, and I'm going to combine it with the one that already has the bacon and the kielbasi in it. Yes, there's a method behind my madness. It is to get the bacon flavor out of the other bacon, to be honest with you, and then I'm going to dip it. When I pour it into the other that has some bacon already in it and the kielbasi, the bacon flavor is going to go all over into everything. It's going to resaturate it all, and it's going to be fantastic, because the oil and the little grease things that comes down from the few pieces of bacon we put in the other one, that flavor is going to go automatically into the kielbasi and the Alfredo, the kielbasi and the bacon that's already in the other pan. And you know, you just want to get it to cooking size. Now the bacon that is in with the kielbasi is going to get brown and a little bit quicker, and it is coming out really well. This is my first time adding bacon to kielbasi Alfredo. Quite frankly, I love bacon. I don't know many people who don't like bacon, unless you're a meat person. Not a meat person, you're not usually into bacon, or you don't like pork. My son hates pork, but he loves bacon. Go figure. Which is why I think that this recipe is going to be delightful. And my gonna be fantastic. And after this, after we're done making it, I'm gonna repost a video later and show you guys and let people tell you how it was. I'll tell you how it was. I don't candy coat things. I'll tell you if it sucks. Then again, I'm making it so we know it's not going to. There's a couple reasons. One, I'm Jazz Fitness, and Jazz Fitness knows how to make fatty foods, and he knows how to make food because look at the size of them and all that. So there's that. But it is what it is. I accept who I am. You guys should too. And you know what? I like making tasty foods. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care that bacon's supposedly unhealthy for you or kielbasi's not good for you. You know what? If it tastes good and it's a good mix, who gives a shit? Make your food, make it good, make it the way you want it. Fuck everybody else. That's what I say. And you'll look as good as Jazz Fitness too with recipes like this. So I'm gonna sit there and let this, both things are cooking right now, and in a minute, about a minute or so, I don't have a timer on or anything like that, so I'm just gonna go on, and I'm just waiting for a certain point of this one on the right of me, the beer pan that has all of the kielbasi and the bacon in it. I'm going to add the other one, and it's about a minute or so. Now I'm gonna shut the heat off on the other pan that was on there for the bacon. So I'm going to show you this right quick. See that bacon right there? That's a few pieces that are on that. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to dump it in with the rest of the mix that is already here. Okay? So that's one pan down. I'm going to put that away to get clean. I'll do that myself. So now it's all one happy show. And we're going to revert to this right here because now it is all together. Now I'm going to mix it all in like so. Now we're down to 2 pans. Okay, the bacon is all together, the kielbasi is all together, and now the bacon that was in the other one that has the flavor already, the juices from just the bacon. Now that bacon is now going to intertwine those mixes with the bacon and the kielbasi flavor that's in the other. So now they're all going to, coagulate together. Okay, they're going to come together as one big happy mouthful of happiness. That's the best way I can describe it. So the bacon, of course, will not go as far as the kielbasi will. Kielbasi you can cut into smaller pieces if you had to. The bacon, bacon in general, you saw the slices. I cut them in 4s. I guess if you really wanted to, you were really tedious, you could cut them into smaller than that. I honestly don't think that is necessary. I think doing it this way is okay. In all honesty, when I make bacon, I do it similar. Whenever I make bacon for breakfast, I do make a really good Irish breakfast. I think everyone in the house will, mix up with this since the hat. Someday maybe I'll do a video for you guys how to make a great traditional Irish breakfast, at least the one in my house. But, when I make bacon, though, I obviously use the shears to cut it. I usually cut it in half when I'm making breakfast, though, not like in the 4s or anything. That's just crazy. But I find that that's the best and the easiest way to distribute the bacon more. It's not going to affect the bacon, but you're actually going to get more bacon from there. Similar to if you were to take a pizza and cut it into 16s rather than 8s, regardless of the fact that you're still cutting the same pizza. You might say, well, it still feeds the same amount, but it doesn't, because now instead of having 8 slices, you have 16 slices of that pizza, and now that pizza will go further. I'm not here to talk about pizza, though. We're doing kielbasi Alfredo, so we're going to stick to one recipe at a time. So the water in the other of the pan is starting to, bubble a little bit, which is good. I'm waiting for a few more bubbles to come to the top. Now it's a bigger pot. It's like a stew pot, kind of a mini stew pot, I'd say. I'll show you that when I go to dump the water for it. Now, the kielbasi and the bacon mix that I have is all mixed in together, and the bacon is amazingly brown right now because it's absorbing everything that is in here, and the kielbasi just looks amazing in here. And I gotta tell you also, it smells really good in here already, just from the bacon and bacon smells amazing usually anyway for those who like bacon. Kielbasi smells usually pretty good also. I know some people make kielbasi with alcohol and beer and stuff like that. In our house, we don't use a lot of alcohol. I don't drink myself. My wife doesn't usually drink often, so we don't really need the beer in the kielbasi. I've never used beer in the kielbasi to make this. As you saw, all I put into the pan was the kielbasi and the bacon. In this case, other than the bacon, which is a new thing for today, is simply just the kielbasi. It's a very simple recipe. So the water is now where I kind of like it to be, a little bit of a boily thing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the egg noodles like so. I'm going to wash these scissors right quick. And actually, we don't need the scissors after this point because everything is already cut and used. But I'm going to wash these scissors right quick off camera using a sponge. I'm washing the scissors. So I'm going to now take these scissors. I'm going to cut the bag of Alfredo. See, very limited, very stress-free in this house anyway, for this recipe. So I've cut the thing completely off. I'm going to take it now, and I'm going to move it to this pan that's right over here. You're not going to be able to see it, but I'm going to use this. This is right, I open it right here. I'm going to dump it in. You'll hear it. Okay, and now I've dumped it in. Trash goes with trash. I'll throw that in after. So now I got this spoon right here. This is the spoon, if you remember, I used for the water. I'm going to give that egg noodles I just threw into that pan. I'm going to give it a stir right quick. Okay. Now the other thing I'm going to do is, even though I took the other pan off the burner, I'm going to now turn the front burner on. Like so. And I'm going to move the pan that was in the back to the front so it's a little easier for me. Okay, so when you're doing that, you want to use a pot handle. Wide view to me, I know, right? So use a pot handle for that, because safety first, people. Safety first. Don't be a hero. So I'm moving that pan that was in the back to the front now, where the primer bacon was just. And now the heat is already hot because it just cooked all the bacon that was on there prior. But now the pot is also hot from the back, so the heat's not really losing a lot of heat, residual heat. And now I'm going to stir the water again with the what I call the egg noodle spoon. And I'm going to use my spatula to move around the kielbasi and the bacon, which is really coming together really good. I'm going to show you guys before I take the next couple steps. This looks just fantastic. Smells great, looks great. I didn't add anything to it because you don't need to. There's already bacon flavor in it. There's already the smoky flavor from the kielbasi. The Alfredo bring their own. The kielbasi and the bacon have their own flavor signature. What we just did was we just used the two and then combined the two. And I think it's going to be amazing. I don't know for sure because I haven't tried it before. I've never done this recipe with bacon. I don't know why I just thought of it now, but I did. But the kielbasi and the bacon mix really should be really good. But the flavor that you're going to get from just the kielbasi and the bacon should be enough that you need to flavor everything. Plus you got the Alfredo sauce, which is going to have that cheesy kind of a flavor to it, creamy cheesy flavor. Now when it all comes together, oh my gosh, pure joy and bliss. That's what I like to say anyway. And actually anybody would tell you that who's had it. So it's really good. Again, I'm using egg noodles, kielbasi, and bacon in this one, and then it's just regular Alfredo sauce. And I'm giving the meat a little bit of a stir. The water on the egg noodles are cooking. I'm going to give that a stir. Egg noodles cook really fast. Like I said, I just dumped them in a minute or so ago. And I'm going to let it cook for a little bit. To be honest with you, I am now just cooking. I'm keeping the heat on the meat on just because I wanted to keep the meat hot. Once the egg noodles are completely done, it is right in that moment, all I have to do is dump the water from the egg noodles, drain it, and then I combine everything into one pot. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to grab my strainer, which is off camera. Regular strainer, folks. I'm going to put that where it needs to be. That's for the water. So that way there I don't have to worry about that when it comes time for that piece of it. What I'm also going to do is step over to this cabinet over here and grab the Alfredo sauce, which is right on top, which is where it should be. Actually, I like this one better, so we're going to use that one instead. Alright. Alfredo sauce is very basic. Like I say, using jar. Doesn't really matter what brand it is, so I'm not going to show what brand it is. It doesn't matter. It's a pretty decent size. And we're getting right about there. It is where I'm just waiting for the egg noodles to be done. And the heat on the meat is really low. Again, I could just shut the heat off and let it, residual heat cook the rest of it. Because I'm actually done cooking the meat. The meat's done. The bacon and the kielbasi is completely done. It looks great. Now the bacon, so you know, is not going to be that crispy bacon you would get if you were to cook Sunday morning breakfast, but it is so going to be good. It is just amazing how it looks. The kielbasi is really browned really well. The bacon has adopted that color, and it looks great. And again, bacon doesn't go as far as the Alfredo does. So now I'm going to take the spoon and check the egg noodles, giving it another stir, because you don't want even though like you saw I put the salt in, a pretty decent amount of salt, and the egg noodles aren't sticking, which is what you don't want. I'm going to take a little piece out with my wooden spoon, which is why I use a spoon and not a spatula or another type of spoon or anything like that. I'm going to let the water drain. I'm going to try, this is what the egg noodle looks like. Right now, I'm going to try to make sure, the way you want your egg noodle to be is a little tender, obviously, it's like any other pasta. I'm going to try it. I think it needs a couple more minutes. Still a little, I mean, it's light. I mean, I could honestly pass this if it was just me, but I'm going to let it cook for a little longer because I like the softness of egg noodles. And that was a little, even though it is soft, it wasn't soft to my liking. If it's not soft to my liking, it's not soft for anybody's liking. So there's that. So I got the two spoons separate from each other, because you don't know. And I have them just sitting here. I'm going to give the meat another move around so it doesn't, as long as you keep the meat moving, it's not going to burn, which you don't want. And it's not going to cause any trouble. So that's really cool. So I'm moving that around like yonder. Bacon, the meat. I'm going to show you what this looks like after. Again, the bacon is cooked, fully cooked, and the bacon just looks great. It's not going to be that crispy bacon, like I said. It's not going to look like, you burn the hell out of it like Sunday morning breakfast, because that's not what we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to get it to mix. I don't know if you knew this, but when you put bacon into beans, for example, because that's a very popular thing for some people to do, bacon and baked beans, you don't actually, burn the bacon first. You actually use this kind of a lighter and softer bacon. You get it cooked, but it's at that light, stage that bacon takes once it's fully cooked. In other words, it's not crispy, but it is very cooked. Okay. And I'm moving it around with the wooden spatula, like that. And again, the heat's still on because I want it to be hot. And now I'm going to with the other spoon, I am going to move around the egg noodles, and I'm going to try another egg noodle. This is kind of like if you ever had goldfish, try to catch the goldfish, it's kind of like that. Only you eat this, and we have the man down. Thankfully, I never did that to a goldfish. My brothers and my sisters, not so much, but I have never done it. So I have a spatula here. Gonna try it. That egg noodle's done. That's exciting to me. I'm gonna turn the heat off of that. And now, the pan that I already put over there, the drainage over there already. I'm gonna take the pot handles again. Again, this is safety first. So I'm going to go ahead and go like this. And now I'm going to drain the water of the egg noodles off to the sink. Excuse me as I go over here. Dumping it right in the pot, into the strainer. I'm going to now put this back on the burner. Okay. And now that is drained. I'm going to take the egg noodles and put them back in to the pot that I just took them from. Very so carefully. You don't want to lose any egg noodles, folks, because that's less egg noodles for you to eat. All right. Excellent. Now I'm going to shut the heat off on the meat. I'm going to show you this, folks. You ready? This is what the meat looks like right here. I use my spatula to show you guys. The bacon, the kielbasi, all mixes together. You see that? And there's still the juices. Now I'm going to dump this into this pan. Everything's going to go right in the pan. I'm not going to drain this. I'm putting it right in as is. Okay. I just poured that in. Putting this pan over here now. Put the pan down. Huh? Now comes the last step. I haven't touched this yet, and I'm going to now move the pan that was over here closer to me, where the meat just was. Now that heat is already on there. This is the last step to the kielbasi Alfredo. The Alfredo. So now you open up the kielbasi Alfredo jar using your vengeance, fitness state, your strength. You take the pan, you take it, and you just dump it in on top. Make sure it's even. You cover the whole top. I'm using the entire jar because it's a lot of food. It goes a long way and it flavors everything nicely. I let it really drain out of the jar. Nothing worse than having a lack of Alfredo in your kielbasi Alfredo. So now what I'm going to do, the spoon that we used for the pasta, which was just water on the pasta, we're now going to take that spoon and use it to mix everything together. The kielbasi, the bacon, and the Alfredo egg noodle, the egg noodles and the Alfredo sauce. Now I'm mixing it all together with the spoon. That's all getting blended together. You want to make sure everything gets covered. The meat goes out. Now the meat, because there's smaller pieces, there's no way to get some and not get something. It's kind of like, it's a really, really great thing. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. Alright, so there's that. Alright. So I stirred that pretty good. I'm going to show you guys what this looks like. Bear with me 1 second. Alright. So this is what it looks like. That's what you want it to look like. Okay, perfectly done. Alfredo. Me again, how you doing? So that is kind of kielbasi Alfredo. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And maybe more recipes on the way. Till next time, I'll let you know after we're done eating it if it was good or not. May all your dreams come true. Peace, have a great night, and bon appetit!